afternoon, everyone. So, yesterday we were talking about this evolution, origin, some basic things to know about ethics. And while telling that, I forgot somehow to link this also. So, morality has also the same origin, mores, let's say that, and by this we say it as habit. So, ethics, if you take its original meaning, literal meaning, and morality, if you say its literal meaning, so both have the same meaning. And that we consider as habit. This. And from habit, this is how it has come, called character and conduct. But then one has become a field, even a normative science. And this normative science deals with moral philosophy. Yes. So ethics is in a way, it is a moral science. We say normative science, which deals with moral principles or moral philosophy. That way we can consider. That is how the relation we can say. So these are basics that you should know. Similarly, we told about that how it is started with by critical thinking, rational thinking, and rejecting the things which we find they are not rational. So that aspect you can consider. So this is how we'll find. Then we also told a bit that how during medieval time or early modern times we'll find that ethics was more influenced by religion. In fact, ethics is profoundly influenced by religion. This, if you see, and religious values influence, but ethics is different from religion. This it is different from religions. We'll try to know those relationships basically, the ethics, religion, ethics, law. So that also will deal. So let's take that aspect called ethics and law. So, religion, social norms. And then finally we'll talk on this ethics and values. Yes. So when society evolves, it's human, they may have this or that, let's say that values, norms, this religion, morality, ethics, although difficult to mention exact aspect, then law. So any society may have an early stage of society when it was born, so they may have their own social norms. They may have their own some this or that kind of preferences, values, standards, we can say that. Then religion, let's say that precedes, let's say, first it is religion which comes religious practices, those. Then let's say sense of this morality aspect, knowledge about right and wrong. Then it is evolution of ethics. Law is a recent arrival because law is largely made by legislature. Law is made by state. State is a modern existence. It has come into. So that can be the relationship we can consider. It means they all influence. They will all influence this ethics. But ethics is different from all. If you have some general understanding, yesterday we told that how morality influences ethics. The same way social norms will also influence ethics, but they may not be considered, all social norms cannot be considered as right or positive or acceptable that way. So this we have to understand. So what relationship they have? Basically when there is a conflict, between this. Yes, yesterday we gave an example. There can also be conflict between norms and ethics. No. And there can be also conflict between religion and, in fact, lots of conflict we have. This. So, which one should be given preference? That is how, from that perspective, it becomes important to understand the relationship between them. So, let's take one by one, we'll talk. So, law and ethics. So, ethics, you know, law we have to know. Yes. So, law is defined as ordinance of regions enacted by state to achieve common good. Yes. So, law, when we say ordinance of reason, it means basically it is a rational document. This a legal document is only a rational document because that legal will have objectivity. That will have a streamlined process and procedures. That is how law is enacted. So they try to maintain a streamlined relationship between different provisions of the law, different sections of the law. And those things should also be rational, objective, justifiable. When a law, because it has its own process, it goes through a process and it is subject to also legal scrutiny. If it is disproportionate, if it is arbitrary, so it can be struck by the court. This, that way we can consider that it is, this is how it is defined. And next is called, it is enforceable. It is enforceable, which, let's say, even if one does not agree, one agrees, it does not matter. When a state has enacted a law, it is enforced against all. This uniformly it is enforced against all. This, and why we are enacting a law, it has also common good. It is for common good of the people. So the difference between law and ethics will be, to one side you can write law, other side ethics. It has legal sanction. On law side, you write, it has legal sanction. It has legal sanction. On ethics side, you write, it has moral sanction. It has moral sanction. This side, it is external. In law side, it is external. External. This side you can write. It is both external and internal. It is both external and internal. Next. It is enforceable. It is enforceable. This side. It is desirable. It is desirable. Next. It is uniformly applied. It is uniformly applied. Applied. This side. It may differ person to person. It may differ person to person. Person or society to society. Society to society. Yes, that was in the context of ethics and morality. Plus, in general, when we say, so in general also it is universal, we consider. But let's say law, even if I do not agree, but law is enforced. But ethics somehow seeks agreement, this you can say, acceptance. And all people may not be under sanction of the same ethical standards. So from that perspective, you can say it differs. Or it may not equally be, let's say, enforced against all, because it is not enforced, rather it is desirable. Right. Since it is desirable, so different people can have different desires, whether they desire to follow, they do not desire to follow. From that perspective, we can say. Plus, ethics does not have one universal standard. Ethics has several universal standards. One is selfless standard, one is self-interest standard. So some people can be utilitarian driven. No, and some people can be deontological driven, which is less possibility. Right? So from that perspective, if you see, so that is how we are trying to say, right? In the context of this. External in the sense that the universal standards lies outside me, outside you. The universal standards, already they are set. Because of that, it is external. Internal is that the conscience also determines ethical standards. Let's say Kant will talk about that. Our moral command means our conscience. So it is intrinsic in that sense. So it can be external also, it can be internal also. Yes, that way we can see. But in the context of morality, we have said it is external. But in the context of law, we are saying both. So this relative aspect we have to understand. Because things become also contextual. We told you also circumstances, consequences, intention. So that way we have to understand the relativity aspect, means relative aspect of this, right? So, see, problem is not here that, means so far relationship between law and ethics, not a problem, you can understand it. Problem comes when which one is superior. Which one should be given more preference? This, when there is a conflict, what should be done? This, and what ideally we should follow, law or ethics? Yes, that's right. Now judiciary will decide what should follow. Means there is a conflict then. Yes. Yes. So judiciary will decide. So, do you think every time when there is a conflict we should go to judiciary? So where is our wisdom? Yes, that's why Supreme Court has criticized that bureaucracy is not applying its own wisdom; it is leaving it to judiciary to decide. This is criticism by Chief Justice. Right. Anyhow, but that's not, yes, when there is conflict and some serious conflicts happen, so certainly it is the judiciary which is the authority to decide, and that's the final decision basically. But let's say that both are needed. Law, let's say that. If you take why we need law, the law is not only needed to achieve common good. Law is needed to establish an ordered society. This ordered society, stable society, because law has authority. When law has a legal force, let's say authorities, it is enforceable, it is important. So law is needed for ordered society, stable society. And once a prelims question was asked, no, liberty is highest where law is. Right. Limited government, or when there is a law. Law is silent. Law, like, government involvement is less. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So what, do you have law optional? Right. Okay, pole science is brother of optional law. Anyhow, that's why you are talking these things. The question is yes, but that technicality we do not have to introduce. Simple thing, let's say that if there is no law, there is no order. And when there is no order, you cannot exercise your liberty. Yes. When there is a law, it protects your rights to exercise your rights. Yes, that we can consider. Limited government can have positive connotation also and negative connotation also. Let's say positive is that yes, the way liberal society is. Negative is that government is passive. Government can be passive also. It does not matter what people do. Let's say that this way. Anyhow, we'll not go into that. What we are trying to say is that law is needed to establish ordered society. You can learn by, or you can know by simple example. There is a red light, and when red light stops working, then there is chaos. No? There is chaos. So as long as you have red light properly functional, the things are smooth, people are going. When green signals happen, it gives the, let's say that message, signal to the people that now you can go, it is your right. Isn't it? The green signal is basically saying that it is your right to go. Right? And red is saying, no, it is not your right. No, many a time, people, when there is a red light and people still do not stop, so some other people can pass remark, dekh nahi raha hai. Isn't it? So, right, let's say that, rights are protected. Hence, everyone can exercise rights there in turn, and it is smooth. But you have seen at times the scenario when red lights are not working. What is the scenario? People are same, but scenario is that there is chaos, traffic. Because in that situation, even if they are ethical, because they are the same people, If you make red light functional, things will become smooth. So they are not different people. So they may be moral and ethical, but since there is nothing to guide them, so even if you are moral and ethical, things become chaotic. This that way, let's say, law has its own relevance. This, but law has relevance. Let's take it is traffic, and there are some special things, ambulance, no, or some emergency type situation. So in that situation, what we should do? There should be exemption. Why there should be exemption? Saving life. This, the law cannot be also, let's say that, harshly imposed in all situations. This, the law should also have compassion aspect, because main purpose of the law was to maintain a smooth traffic. And by just allowing, giving an exception to an ambulance, it does not affect the smooth aspect. Right? Still the smooth aspect can continue. This is an exception. But law at times, let's say that, becomes outdated. And you do not notice when it becomes outdated. Gradually it starts becoming outdated. Let's say piece by piece, let's say. There can be something in the law, it has become outdated. But let's say that we think still it does not matter, isn't it? And then a situation may come, let's say that law seems to be not relevant. But we are not still changing that law. Society has advanced. Society may have advanced like this. And law has not been changed. This. So there can be quite friction between this. A society can have resistance. It can have resistance. So in that situation, what should do? Now judiciary cannot strike every time this thing. Judiciary itself has limitations, and it is not that much efficient even in our country, in case of our country. So what should happen in that situation? This is one. Second is that basically happens that society or governments, they have a tendency to enforce law and make laws more harsh. This is to know that. Anything happens in society, you know what we do? First thing, we amend a law or make law. Make a new law. This is how we do that. But there may not be necessary or concomitant change in behavior of people. Behavior may not change. Although the focus should be to bring first behavioral changes. But rather than bringing behavioral changes, we focus on legal change because it is easy to bring. This, like say Nirbhaya incident and criminal law amendment. The first thing we did is that criminal law we amended. Right. But the similar incidents you can see recurring here and there. But law was made harsher. That is how the trend we can find. Law is made harsh. This. So whether harsh law will achieve the change, that is called behavioral aspect. This one. Should we give more emphasis on legal aspect, or should we give more emphasis on behavioral change? So, balance approach. Right? Behavioral than legal. Yes. Although we have, yes, it is also. It is very difficult, yes. Whether we should go for legal, which one brings, let's say, behavioral change takes time. You should know that. Legal change, you have to enact a law, bring changes in rules. But behavioral change takes time because it is related to people. and lots of conflicting things we have in society, isn't it? Lots of conflicting things we have in society. It's simple. Again, I will tell. I keep telling throughout the class, so don't worry, don't feel bored also by saying this. Dowry Prohibition Act. Now, the way back we, let's say, brought this Dowry Prohibition Act, but there is dowry no prohibition, isn't it? And those who prohibit, they take dowry. This IAS. It depends on the male counterparts whether they will favor. Right. No. This is how it is. Yes, that is also there. Legal change also we have lots of resistance, but that was just we are trying to talk in the context of ethics and law. This. And once again, we'll teach you ethics and law. When we'll teach civil services, there is a topic called law, rules, regulations, and conscience as source of ethical guidance. It is a topic, let's say. Here, just we will try to have a bare minimum level discussion which can serve our purpose to understand the relationship between law and ethics. This is how it is. Now, it is always, let's say that, debatable, conflicting, which one should be given preference. But if you take Western society, they give more preference to behavioral changes, moral sanction than legal one. This. And they have developed their system in that way. Because to bring behavioral changes, you need social infrastructure. This. In our country, we do not have social infrastructure, or we do not want to intend to have social infrastructure. The journey also has not started. Sorry to say that. Because in our country, humanities subjects are not given emphasis. You know that. We consider them as wastage, or we think that only those who are not means able to get science subjects, they go for humanities, isn't it? Without humanities, you cannot build a good social infrastructure. This to bring social change in society. The only institution that we have is Tata, that is called TIS, Tata Institute of Social Science. This, otherwise, government does not have its own such institution, which can have the stature like TIS. This. So social infrastructure we need. So what we do is that generally we punish people. Okay. We punish people. Like say कि drug addict, you find any person as a drug addict. So what you do is that एक तो वो addict ऐसे ही है, ठीक है, और addiction हुआ होगा किसी न किसी वजह से, और उसको फिर punish भी कर दिया, दूसरा addiction हो गया, और जिस जगह पे गया वो तीसरा addiction हो गया, prison, no. So I say generally sarcastically that when he was taking drug, that time he may take for entertainment, recreation, etc. But when he goes imprisonment, let's say that, and he comes out, he is a well-trained person now, not in only drug addiction, but it's marketing also. This. He is not a reformed person, rather, he is a trained person. Worse than what he was. This. Because we believe in more punishment, not reformation. Reforming the behavior. Because for reformation, it will take time. Rehabilitation center, he should go to rehabilitation center rather than prison. And you do not have that rehabilitation center. Rehabilitation centers are also more center, not rehabilitation. This. So they don't, today, tomorrow you'll understand these things, how it is. That is how the challenge, let's say that when you want to bring behavioral change, legal enforcement, and law is enforced, and there is a popular, let's say that perception in our country, for legal enforcement. This we support that kind of legal enforcements. This, but on the whole, at the end of the day, behavior will not change. Behavior will not change, and that is how, let's say, that we will not be able to achieve the aim of the society, objective of even law. Right. So there should be more focus on bringing moral change in society, behavioral change in society. This is the relevance of ethics. Law should also be there. Law is needed to contain the behavior, to, let's say that, penalize the behavior if people are repeatedly, let's say that, breaking law. But law should not be harsh on just someone has done something and you heavily punish that person. That results into complete, let's say that, spoil of that person's life. This, that is how the approach is. You are saying something?
So you were saying about behavior and change. If a person in India he is using a cup of tea and throwing there, and same person goes abroad, and there, because there is a legal perspective, and the same thing will not be happen there. So legal has a role.
अच्छी बात है. Good example, by the way.
So there's the other thing around will also be will also point out. So that's a more moral aspect. But here everyone will be
Yes, yes. You should know also that in the same country, that suppose you are giving example, you can see that when people, let's say that, violate traffic rules or such kind of petty crimes, so they go to a particular court. In the court, they admit their, let's say, behavior, they did this wrong. They promise also that they will not again break traffic rule before judge. Have you seen that video? Yes. And the judge will also give a topic. Right. Isn't it? Can it happen in our country? Right. So it's about all honest admission, let's say that. What we have done that person? Honest admission. Honest admission ki he admits ki yes, he has done it. That is the biggest victory of law. If you are able to admit that you have done it, so that is how you have changed that person. The next time he will be cautious, he will not behave. What we do in our country? So, कब आपने वायलेट किया ट्रैफिक पता ही नहीं चलेगा, जब नोटिस आएगा तो पता चलेगा. ठीक है, उसके बाद आपको कोर्ट में जाना पड़ेगा. And it will also take time. Heavy cost. Isn't it? It is very harsh. Because it can take your 1 to 2 working days. In getting that notice cleared, let's say, because in the court you have to go. So, yes, we are not trying to draw a parallel between theirs and ours. It's not like that. What we are trying to say, see, law is needed, but at the same time, law effectiveness is limited if people do not bring behavioral change. Means we are not able to bring behavioral change in people. The law would have very limited effects. Because of that, ethics has the potential to bring change and make society better than law. That is what we have to summarize, let's say that. Yes. Social infrastructure means adequate number of psychologists, sociologists, social psychologists, community members who can analyze behavior of the people not from legal perspective but from social psychological perspective. If someone is taking drugs, so why he is taking drugs? What those factors force that person to take drug? So you have to reverse those factors by rehabilitating the person. But you do not want to know the factors which resulted into. Rather, you are punishing that person. But there in rehab center, they will see the process of the behavior, no? Because you are not born addict. You are not born addict. Something happen in the life, let's say, that turns up like, and that is how people fall to those kind of things. That is called.
So when law becomes
Like, I was to also give example, although later on it will come, Bihar, liquor ban. आपने क्या किया है, liquor को ban कर दिया. ये भी कोई बात होती है? Sorry to say that. Although I do not drink. Right.
So,
Yes.
so in countries like USA, they don't call it prison, they call it correctional centers, and also they have.
Yes, that is how Malimath committee recommendation. You should know criminal justice reform. It has also recommended for correctional courts, correctional law.
Yes, and for minor offenses, they also instead of like giving some harsh punishment, they tell them to serve for like they
Community service. Community service, I think you want
Yes,
to
yes,
say.
yeah.
It is good. अरे कुछ तो return भी होगा ना society को. Isn't it? Community service means it is a return given to society. Yes. And when you do that service, so you undergo behavioral change. Right? You go under behavioral change because you experience that. You experience that. That is how it should be. But we don't have that kind of infrastructure. आप बोलोगे कम्युनिटी सर्विस, कोई देखेगा नहीं, बोलेगा हो गया, मैंने कर दिया. Isn't it? Sorry to say it. Right? He will go whatever the place. He will show his presence. Right? This is infrastructure, I am saying.
so law becomes outdated.
So let me finish. Bihar wala also, I wanted to tell this example. Although again later on it will come. So that way you can understand more clearly. See, liquor ban, although you can have your own view, that does not matter. But liquor ban is not a right way to address the problem of drinking and domestic violence and other such problems. This. Because there is no any precedent in this world where liquor was banned and it was successful. This you should also know. Second is that it is a behavioral problem. It is a behavioral problem. It is a cultural problem. Right. Liquor, Western countries में, it is part and parcel. No. It is part and parcel of their life. And I can say, yes, they drink more than us. This. So then they should have this problem more than us, but it is not. But what we have done is law. We have banned it. Instead of changing the behavior of that person, we are punishing that person. And see the consequence of the punishment. Already they are, let's say, poor fellows, largely, because rich के लिए तो ban कोई मतलब है नहीं. वो दिल्ली में आके ड्रिंक करेगा या दिल्ली से जाएगा बैग में लेके. Sorry to say that. Isn't it? उसके नेटवर्क्स भी होंगे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में. इनफैक्ट पुलिस वाले भी ड्रिंक करते हैं. सॉरी टू से, बिहार में. जो लॉ एनफोर्स करने वाला है वो भी ड्रिंक करता है. बट वो खुद ही एनफोर्स कर रहा है दूसरे के अगेंस्ट. दिस इज ए हिपोक्रेसी. So the question is this, you will find that कि those who are अगर further richer तो 5 star वहाँ बैन नहीं है. So it has lots of consequences. They can be poor fellows, already they are economically struggling. Then you caught that person, now you will arrest that person, put behind bar. तो जो source of livelihood था वो भी गया. This. But we are not teaching here that aspect, let's say, consequence, other things. Rather, how you want to solve. So, you will not try to establish a social infrastructure which can address such problems. Right? Rather, you will simply punish them. That is how legal enforcement. And it is not a solution at all. You know it better. This. So, that is how we can consider, means conclude it. The law and ethics, let's say, both are needed. Law has its relevance for establishing ordered society. and law should also be harshly enforced. Law is soft, but it is implemented and enforced properly in Western society. Law means ki law is harsh in our country, developing countries, but it is not enforced properly. This you should know. That's why we are known as, developing countries are known as soft state. They fail to enforce law properly. This Western countries may not have harsh laws, but they enforce it properly. Like if you violate any traffic rule, it is enforced. But in our country, it is not enforced necessarily. This you should know that. So, the difference we have to understand between both, not only enforcement. This, but on the whole, let's say that law and ethics, you need to understand this. That ethics does not mean, let's say, only simply bringing some ethical conduct. You can see by this behavior, let's say there is a farmer. Farmer or anyone who is, let's say that in farming field, and they use lots of fertilizers, isn't it? Which are harmful to, right, health. सवाल तो बाद में आएगा, right? Soil also. You know it, he knows also. Right. अब आप law लेके आएंगे, what to do it, regulate it. यही तो कर सकते हैं law से. So we can regulate only external aspect of human behavior. And now it depends, the regulation effectiveness depends how it is effectively enforced. But you know that it may not be enforced effectively. But if you take ethics, ethics will strike at the mind of the farmer. This. It will strike at the mind of the farmer that he should not harm others' life for his own livelihood. This is behavioral change. He should not harm others' life for his own livelihood. And if you bring that change, then you do not need them also. You do not need them. Can we say? But is it ideal? Yes. The economy will grow only by this.
Some alternate to them also. Instead of this, like urea, some alternate to them also, so that their growth, farmer growth doesn't affect, and its level of production will decrease and it will affect negatively to others.
Yes, yes.
The level of production will decrease and it will also affect our country.
So an incentive-based model was there.
What kind of incentives will be provided apart from these fertilizers or pesticides?
Although, yes, personally, I am not in a, I do not want to go into lots of debate of this. Simple, let's say that, okay, think about this. Do you want to harm lives of other people? This. Whether your livelihood is more important. Second, which is whatever you are saying, it will affect productivity plus this and that. Don't you think that by this way you are feeding, let's say, kind of poison to people? Ultimately, their health will become affected. All people will grow with bad health. What is that? let's say that the benefit of people having bad health, the cost of health treatment will be much more than the benefit you are getting.
So the fundamental question is about very first thesis was that we needed the rain, even if it was
देखो that again कि I will not go into this debate कि कहाँ से आया, क्या हुआ, क्या करना था, वो तो आपका पेपर 3 डिसाइड करेगा. Right. So this is how it is. What we are saying is try to understand this. That कि it individual, let's individual take any individual, particular individual, whether that individual who is doing it, so if he is ethical, let's say, then he will not do it, and certainly he will find other ways and means to generate enough for his livelihood. This is what we want to say. What he should do, what he should not do, we are not supposed to talk. And whether we should bring incentive scheme, I will say that paper 3 should decide what incentive scheme will be appropriate. What we are saying is that ethics is always about right way. Are you doing right things? This. And human has enough energy and potential to find ways. Isn't it? This, when we say that no, it will affect this and that, we are trying to accept some lesser standard, not higher standard. This, because can human not find out solution for food insecurity, right, without harming such things and going for this level of fertilizers, etc. Whether it is the only way, not necessarily. Right. On the other hand, I may have told that you should know that we have wastage of our food grain, rotting of food grain, perishable, let's say that things, and farmers also throw on road. This is how I can say. Forget about this. A farmer does not grow for his own consumption by using pesticides and fertilizers. Farmer grows for his own consumption without this. This you may be aware about this. And for others, this is how we put. No, the others' lives are not important. Simply what we are trying to say, see, ethics, since ethics deals with human character and conduct, hence it brings change at origin of the behavior. It is like you have traditional medicine system. The traditional medicine system brings change in your lifestyle. It addresses the root cause of the health problem. Allopath can address only at external level. This. The same thing like ethics. Ethics is about change in behavior, change in your thinking. It's you're about, let's say that knowledge about what is right, what is wrong. And then let's say that you decide what we should do. This. And that is how, let's say, it is considered more important than law. Right? Because law you cannot enforce unless people are moral and ethical. In Western society, if law is enforced properly, it is also because people are relatively moral and ethical. Tax obedient society, we say that. It is a tax obedient society. Ours is a tax evasive society. This, so there is a change, means there is a difference. Right. But I don't want to, let's say, go into debate, lots of debate. Just we want to conclude so that when we'll take there, we'll talk in details. Law, ethics, rules, blah, blah things. Let's summarize on this. Although they have differences, but both influence each other. Both influence each other. Ethics first, first point you can write. Ethics provides foundation for law. Ethics provides foundation for law. Next, law helps in establishing. Law helps in establishing discipline and order. Discipline and order in society. Discipline and order in society. Next, law enforcement. Law enforcement can also build. Law enforcement can also build a good habit in society. A good habit in society. And habit pattern can help in improving character and conduct. Improving character and conduct. Character and conduct. However, ethics is more. Next means change in paragraph 1. However, ethics is more effective. Ethics is more effective in bringing behavioral changes. Behavioral changes. As it brings changes in thinking, knowledge, and understanding of people. It can change the perspective of life. It can change the perspective of life. Perspective of life. That's why even governments also give emphasis on creating awareness in society. Creating awareness in society. Second, this can be first, creating awareness in society. Next, influencing behavior of people. Influencing behavior of people. Next, promoting value-based education. Promoting value-based education. Next, adopting code of ethics. Adopting code of ethics. For instance, Swachh Bharat mission became successful not because people were harshly penalized for open defecation. Harshly penalized for open defecation. Rather because of changes in attitude and behavior. Changes in attitude and behavior. Related to hygiene and sanitation. Hygiene and sanitation. That is how it is. Can we say this? So was it successful because of law enforcement? Attitudinal and behavioral changes. It has become more acceptable, especially in rural India, to have toilet in house. Yes, especially in Hindu culture, since Tulsi ji is, let's say that, is also in Angan, sorry to speak in that way, but that is how it is. So, because of that, people do not want in the house toilet also. This that kind of culture we find this. So, people will not accept a toilet inside house. Rather, it should be outside house. So, now there is increasing acceptance of that. Basically, in traditional family, you can say not that other families which are acceptable to all these things they accept. A movie was also made on that aspect. You can say that movie has also depicted, especially of led by Akshay Kumar and etc. When Swachh Bharat let's say mission was there, the movie has also influenced. Plus, other things were also taken into consideration. That's why question was asked, let's say, Swachh Bharat mission and social influence. This combining both, a question was asked in this. So that way we can say on this, this is how law and ethics we can say. Let's take next. Yes, yes.
The one who invented synthesized fertilizers and pesticides. Ethical question was
No. Because let's say that at relative level you can use it. Even government has also prescribed a particular ratio for this NPK that we can say. No. So government has also its particular, let's say, prescription. What should be the ratio that you can use? So at certain level it cannot be harmful. But then you know that what happens. This excess use of this. The excess use of even medicine, you can say that. Excess use of medicine, antibiotics do not have effects. Because let's say it has become frequent practice. So negativity is because of excess application. Not that the, let's say that product per se, we can say this. So it is not negative.
Having others life for own livelihood. So there's a person who is selling liquor, not in a state which is a liquor ban, in a proper state. A person who is selling liquor, does he have ethical?
Taking liquor for entertainment purpose is not harmful. This again in a moderate quantity if you take it, so it is not harmful. Can we say? Medicinal can be, but in a moderate quantity if you take it is not harmful. Then right. But again it is excess. हमारे इंडिया में तो ऐसे भी एक्सेस नहीं होता है ओवर. So, and generally people drink, they don't have control. Thereafter, you know that what they do. Right. So it's, let's say, control. You don't have control on behavior basically. It shows that aspect. It is a behavioral problem. Yes. So you have to address the behavioral problem rather than, let's say, that keep banning it. And someone who is selling it. Right. Even those who are selling those gutka, etc., cigarette, etc., you can take, let's say, that for recreational purpose, right? It may not be that much harmful, but suppose you are, let's say, that know that what people do this way. So from that perspective, it cannot be told. Anyhow, then we'll take his call, ethics and religion. These are some differences when we talk. So when we say religion, religion is just a matter of faith. You have faith in any such religion or any such, let's say that ki, can say text, any entity, any god, this and that, whatever you can say this. Why you have faith, it is not questioned. This, why you are Hindu, why you are Muslim, it is not questioned. This is a matter of faith. And people have been given that freedom that you can have your own faith. You can be religious, you can be atheist also. It depends on you. This, so there is a less scope for reasoning, questioning it, rejecting it. This, many times people say if you have to follow it, otherwise don't question it. This. So that is how we'll find in this, right? Although there is also a scope for rationality, Vivekananda, etc., they will bring rationality. But still, let's say that the popular aspect of religion. The popular aspect of religion is it is based on faith. And let's say faith is generally not questioned. But and then there is also this soul concept, isn't it? Atma in our country, soul, let's say rebirth, reincarnation, let's say. So all these things we have liberation of soul, no liberation of, let's say that, so liberation concept that we have. Other religions also have this concept. Jainism, Buddhism, they will also have this concept of liberation of soul. This once soul is liberated, so you are relieved from the cycle of birth, isn't it? This is how you become a relieved person. Otherwise, your birth cycle of birth will continue as long as you are not liberated. So that is how you find a bit of religion, let's say. This, it is based on reasoning and logic, and you can accept and reject this because it starts with reasoning and logic. The reasons and logics can be accepted, rejected. This, then religion cannot be so relegated. So if you, religion has religious philosophy. We can say that religious values. So every religion will have its own, let's say. See, with that help also we tell you some religious values which are also important. We are not just teaching relationship between ethics and religion. With this, you can see we are also trying to expose you some religious values, which are also important. You can refer this. Although you know they are generic, the people know it, but yes, we can mention in ethics many a time. It is not necessary to only mention utilitarian, deontology, etc. They have also, let's say that their own significance. If you see, ours is a society which we say as inclusive. These are generic values, you understand it. Righteousness, let's say dharma, truthfulness, you know that in Mahabharata you can say. Similarly, Gita, you'll know dutifulness, or you can say nishkam karma, selflessness, that we can talk. And Ramayana, let's say that she talks about adherence to truth. Not only adherence to truth, but the personality of Ram, you will find that, which we say Maryada Purushottam Ram. This the Maryada, you know that, Purushottam, you know that, and Ram. But generally we follow only Ram, na to Maryada hai, na Purushottam hai. Anyhow, so although it is just, I guess, third class, I should not be so sarcastic, but anyhow. So generally, let's say if you watch Ram, let's say, so such a huge, let's say that person in terms of compassion, in terms of sense of justice, and in terms of let's say adherence to truth. That's why it is said कि रघुकुल रीति सदा चली आई प्राण जाय पर वचन न जाए. No, but you know what is happening in Uttar Pradesh. Anyhow, and there is no truth in building of Ram temple. Sorry to say that. Ram is known for truth, but the way temple is being constructed, truth is also being buried. That does not mean I want to say that masjid should be built. It's not like that. Anyhow, gods are such personalities cannot be belittled by us, but we belittle them, right? By saying or showing that we are the savior of them. Gods and such people, Ram, Krishna, jisko bhi aap bolo, they don't need to be saved by you. Who are you? Do they need you to save them? But what people say, they want to save them. This is how it is. Anyhow, forget about this. What we are trying to say, if you want to know Ram, so know in Ramayana. In Ramayana, you may have watched the last moment when Ravan is, let's say that, almost in his last life, he regrets his life and he seeks forgiveness from Lord Ram. He forgives. Imagine, he forgives. What we are doing? Revenge. This, on the land of Ram, there is revenge called bulldozer justice. And we portray as if it is the only justice which is needed. This, anyhow. So just imagine that the person who did Ramayana is based on that. They fought against each other, right? Still he forgives him. Yes. That is how Ram. So he is known for compassion, forgiveness, not punishment. Right? Even if you believe in Ram, Ramayana, so what happens? When Sita is, let's say that things happen. So he first sends Hanuman. Right? He does not want war at first place. He does not want war at first place. What we are doing, bulldozer is a war at first place. This. You do not want to give a chance to that family to take recourse. Right. even if it is illegal. That is how you should understand sense of justice. Even if we want to believe in our own tradition and culture, it was not so unjust. But religion is portrayed in such a way that hardly we know these things, or people try to know that. And in the name of religion, people fight Ram Navami and Muharram. This. And then nation is on its toe. क्यों भाई? Right. Ram Navami आया है. So it gives the license to all those lumpards to carry in their hand swords, other weapons in the name of Ram Navami. And similarly, other side in Muharram does the same thing. So religion becomes a matter of show, pomp and show. बस कि आपके इतने हथियार हैं तो हमारे इतने हैं. ऐसा लग रहा है गब्बर सिंह आया है. ठीक है. बस और सफर कौन करता है? कॉमन पीपल. पुलिस इट इज ऑन ड्यूटी. उसका 1 महीने से प्रिपरेशन चल रहा है. क्यों? रामनवमी आने वाला है. दिस व्हाट द हेल यू आर डूइंग? तो पब्लिक मनी कहाँ खर्च कर रहे हो? अरे उसको जाके 2-4 थप्पड़ मारो. सॉरी टू से, ये तीसरा ही क्लास है, बट आई कैन नॉट टीच अगेन. जो ऐसे लोग हैं उसको जाके 2-4 थप्पड़ मारो. बोलो कि ऐसे मत करना रिलीजन के नाम पर. फिर अगले साल से कोई नहीं करेगा. बट वी ड्रामेटाइज बिकॉज इसमें पॉलिटिक्स भी तो है. पॉलिटिक्स ऑल्सो कम. सो रिलीजन के नाम पे तमाशा है, एंड उसमें आपका सारा टाइम एंड एनर्जी जाएगा एज एन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, बिकॉज यू हैव टू इंश्योर दैट इन योर डिस्ट्रिक्ट एवरीथिंग गोज इन peaceful manner. This. But if you understand Ram, let's say those who are doing it, if they understand that, they will not harm any person. And those who are having Muharram, right, they will not also harm anyone. This, because both fights, Ram also fights for truth. Muharram was also for truth. This is how you have to understand. But religion, we let's say that make something in that way, and that is how it has become so volatile, so conflictual. So just to tell, since religion we cannot teach thereafter, this is how we mention. If you take any such, let's say it is related to Hinduism, it is quite inclusive, and it has its own, let's say, values. In that we can see this. Even Mahabharata goes on defining ethics like this. So if you have downloaded DOPT material on ethics, so you may find this. So do not do unto others as you won't be done by. It is the meaning of ethics as per DOPT manual. What does it mean? It has been taken from Mahabharata. This. So you should not do, means आपको दूसरों के साथ वो मत करो जो आप चाहते हो कि आपके अगेंस्ट ना हो. अभी मैं फार्मर का एग्जांपल दे रहा था. This. So, in fact, this line you remember, and whenever you have doubt whether your answer is ethical or not, repeat it in your mind. Right. So it will be a test of your answer, whether you are having an ethical view. So then let's say we will not do all those things which would like that it should not happen against us. No. And then you can see many of the things we should not have done. This first thing is that everyone wants to be respected. That if you are disrespecting others, you know that unnecessarily, so you should know that you are doing wrong. This, if you are speaking lie to others, so you know that others will also lie against you. This, if you are doing anything wrong against anyone, so you know that others will also do wrong against you. Will you like this? So, if we follow it itself, society will become very simple. This ordered society, but generally we do not follow it. This because after class means class के अंदर काफी philosophy है, class के बाहर, right? Reverse, isn't it? Practical life, right? Because it is very difficult to execute. So that is what we can consider. So even they have talked, let's say that ethical components also. In the religion, we can have ethical component. This, and then one more thing we can say, which I am not writing, is Upanishads. And then we have yes. Then we also teach universal brotherhood. No, it is enough. It is enough to change our behavior. All government offices overhead have Satyamev Jayate. Right. The bad thing is that it has a distance from our head. Right. This is what it is. So that we can lie. Right. Isn't it? But all government offices have Satyamev Jayate. All government of files start with Satyamev Jayate. So that we can lie thereafter. This. So this is how I'll find this. Enough you have principles. अगर आप यही सब रेफर करोगे ethics paper में, enough. There are so many things to refer. The sources of ethics, let's say. So that is what we can consider about Hinduism. The next religion can be Buddhism. So sacrifice, middle path. This. So, right faith, right knowledge, then it results into right conduct. Yes. So that is how we'll find this. Since Buddhism will teach it, so we are not giving emphasis. When we'll take Gautam Buddha. as personality, philosopher. Since Hinduism is not based on any individual philosopher, so we do not thereafter teach Hinduism, although we'll teach Vivekananda. This Jainism is also not based on any particular personality, let's say, although Mahavir Jain you can consider. So this much you should know about Jainism. It is known for non-violence, compassion. Already you may be aware. These are the three important principles of Jainism. Right faith will bring, let's say, right knowledge. Right knowledge will bring right conduct. This that we can consider. Then similarly, let's say Christianity. This it is known for forgiveness. Just will write one. And similarly, let's say that Islam known for equality. In fact, forgiveness can be characteristics of all religions, let's say, but important characteristics is linked to Christianity. In Islam, there is no discrimination basically. Equality, although yes, in actual practice there can be, but it is known for equality. This, if you take any important value, so that way we can say religion. The religions will see, so they have their own values or principles. These principles or values can also be considered as universal. And since they are also universal, so they are also principles of ethics. Yes. So, whatever the principles we have told, they are also principles of ethics. That is how religion is not ethics, but religion has profound influence on ethics. They have differences, they may conflict also. They may conflict also. But at the same time, let's say that you can find that they influence each other. The way yesterday we told that morality, basically religion can have some universal values and there is no problem in those values. They are accepted as principles of ethics. But at the same time, religion can have some discriminatory practices. And those discriminatory practices may result into conflict with ethical standards or even legal standards. And when conflicts happen, so then you have to take the side of largely either ethical side or legal side. Can we say? In general, there is no conflict between them. Because try to understand, religion is also about discipline and living a better life with a standard of behavior. This religion also teaches how you can become a good human. And all religions will teach you to, let's say, lead a good life based on standards of behavior. This is how. And they will teach you about truth, they will teach you about compassion, they will teach you about forgiveness, they will teach you also about selflessness. Because all religions also teach charity. This. But at the same time, since religion is not practiced in true form as preached by the founder of that religion. Religion is practiced as per what people think that preacher was saying. That is called interpretation. First. Second, since there is a huge level of evolution of people, society, hence religion has been deformed. It has, let's say that, gone into this and that stages. And lots of rituals and etc. belief that we have added in that religion. And because of that also it results into conflict. First. Second, a religion may not have problem, but since there are several religions side by side, so then they result into conflict. Rights of one, let's say, person in a particular religion conflicts with right of other people. Then what should be done in that situation? Then, since ethics is about more progressive aspect, universal aspect, it is based on rationality, which has given rise to so many things, including liberal values. But religions have some of the, let's say, traditional values also, practices. That also results into conflict. So, today you will find that there is a more, let's say, increase in incidence of conflicts between law and religion or ethics and religion. This one is, we told you one day about Sabrimala case. This, the constitutional morality versus social morality. So that conflict matter has gone to court. This will find. Similarly, there are several other, let's say, that things happening. Like in past, when there was, let's say, Jainism has one such, I guess, festival during which they have, what we say to that festival? Santhara is not. Festival is Paryushan something. Paryushan. Yes, yes. The Paryushan, let's say that, in which they observe festival, it is, let's say that, fast. So that time, let's say that generally they, nowadays there is a demand that all those, let's say that, shops, meat shops should be closed. Yes. So some states started having a law, like say Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. There are several states which have law. During that time, there is ban on meat shops. Then we have now Navratri. In past, in Navratri time, there was no demand. Right. But now in Navratri time, there is also demand, and now it is imposition. This, that has, let's say, started happening. And similarly, let's say on now Diwali occasion also it has started happening. This. So gradually, let's say that there is quite increase in such aspect. This kind of thing. On this, let's we should ban it. Right. It should be banned. It is a decision by state. If a state decides, we can ban it. This. But it does not give license to people to go and by force close the meat shops. This is that cannot be done. But people have started doing it, and the state remains silent. That increases conflict in, let's say, it creates, let's say, tense environment. This should know. It does not only affect livelihood of people, it also, let's say, affect the overall harmony in society. Religion, let's say, that has happened. So, increase in such type of things. Another thing has started that people feel hurt, isn't it? Someone say, I am hurt by this. Hurt hai to theek hai yaar, thoda drink lar kar lo, isn't it? So that's right.
What about personal laws like inheritance and all? They also differ.
Yes, they also differ.
So can we state that as an example?
No, but that, let's say that if you talk personal law and the example that we are giving, so this example is related to banning something. Right. Banning something. Which, let's say that it affects overall, let's say, if a particular religion, a person has a particular religion, for the sake of particular religion, you cannot, let's say that affect the life of other people. This you should know. It is a multi-religious society. It is not a one religious society. When it is a multi-religious society, so you have to understand that ki other people have also their rights. This we are saying. As far as personal law is concerned, other such, let's say that ki special laws are concerned. So they may have some practices, let's say, which may not conform to the, you can say that ki our modern legal standard, but they are subject to legal scrutiny. If they have any such problems, so then people challenge in the court, and the courts have given, let's say, their judgments, like say ki making triple talaq unlawful. This, if there are other such discriminatory practices, so then it is again, let's say that the role of the either government or the judiciary to take a decision, or that community to take a decision. But let me tell you that when we talk about a particular matter of a particular religion, what has started a trend now, if you talk about one religion, then other people will say, means that people are saying you are not talking about that religion. This is not a right way to address the problem. This, because all religions are not same. They are different. Don't try to make all religions as same. They can have same rights, but let's say that they are not same religion. As I told you that Hinduism is not person specific. It is not personality specific. So you cannot make it as a planned religion. Other religions are personality specific. They are planned. So don't try to make Hinduism planned by comparing with others. Let Hinduism be Hinduism, and Islam be Islam, Christianity be Christianity. But in the process of this for that, tit for tat, we are losing sight of this aspect, the uniqueness of a particular religion. That is how we have to understand. So, what just we were trying to highlight is, let's see, nowadays in the name of religion you will find that there is demand and it conflicts with others' rights. Yes, if state takes decision, people will not question it. And the state has the legal authority to take a decision. But when people are doing it, be it any faith people, it's not related to only Jain we are talking. Any faith people, if they themselves do it, take law into their hand, so that is how, let's say, that it is not right. And it is not religious also. Because religion does not also teach harming others. This should also.
Sir, killing
In fact, let's say that this.
killing animals for meat is ethical, sir.
So what do you think?
They also have right to live.
Yes. Yes. Then still you go by your question.
Yes, sir, I am going by this. Right, sir. There is difference between plants and animals.
आप क्या चाहते हो?
नहीं सर, ये ethical है या नहीं है, मैं तो ये पूछ रहा हूँ बस कि जानवरों को मारना ethical है या नहीं.
Right. It does not come under that scrutiny, whether it is ethical or not. Human. Yes. In general, if you say it is ethical, case by case you say so it is not. Yes. Because case by case we protect the rights of animals. This you should know that. But if you take in general, so this is how, let's say, it is, yes, it is ethical. But question itself is not related to ethics. Ethics is related to human conduct. You should understand this. Ethics is not related to animal conduct, right? And animal rights. This is how. Right. The question is that for.
Who is killing the
question is that ki why he is killing.
No, sir.
This
मारना उस मतलब वो जो मार रहा है वो एथिकल है नहीं मतलब ये
मतलब मार रहा है वो एथिकल है कि नहीं.
सर will he be considered an ethical person?
That person will be considered ethical or not? Yes, he will be ethical. Why he is not ethical? Why he is not ethical? You tell.
But like you only said that it is a higher standard, whether it be of human or
No, we are not talking about animal. Try to understand that. It is about human. Ethics deals with human conduct. This now, human has given rise to animal. Human has recognized. But rights are given to those people who can defend their rights. Who can, let's say that, think about their rights. You have human rights, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. You do not have Universal Declaration of Animal Rights. Animals cannot, let's say that, fight for their rights. You will have to. That's why there are various laws to protect them. But as far as you are talking about killing of animals, so in general it may not be appropriate. We should not kill animals. But then there are other things which come there. The logics if you start giving, so then let's say that you'll think about this. That why people started killing animals and why animals are killed. Forget about religion. Forget about religion, take in general. Right. So if you see, there are many such countries which are, let's say, Western society will find that, or hilly area you can find that. They don't have vegetables. Vegetables are not grown there. They have -degree temperature. Read their history, not our history. Then you will understand this. But since we know our history of vegetarian society, but that's also very skewed. 70% people in India eat, they are non-vegetarian. If you have target to make people vegetarian, it is good, not a problem. Right. Largely coastal area people are non-vegetarian. This. So do not link vegetarian, non-vegetarian also to Christians and Muslims, let's say that. Because vegetarian, non-vegetarian, if you see in the history also. You have to know about the history, places, and then we will understand where you have a, one student has gone US, so he shared, that can give you a bit understanding. He said that two things are easily available. One is meat, another is liquor. Then for vegetable, they have to go quite, let's say, far away. Still, they cannot get vegetables which they want. Yes. So you have to know the history of that. Plus, you know that you may have read animal and human chain that you have. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Food chain, let's say that you know that. In that also you know that system. So this is how it is. But I will tell, we should not kill animal. I will tell this. But if you talk ethicality or unethicality, then you would have to have a broader understanding of the matter. This is how we can say. And we should try to minimize. That's why animals have also been given rights. Right. But there is no any country where there is a ban on, let's say that, this, what you can say, there can be ban on killing, but as far as meat is concerned or other things are concerned, there is no that ban. Even in our country, only ban is on cow slaughtering. Right, because cow is revered in our society. There is a ban on that. This you can consider. So that is how we can take it. But matters are quite, let's say that, endless, we have to debate on that. That I was talking about Jainism. So Jainism has one, let's say, Paryushan festival. During that time, they observe fast. hence a trend has started कि that time they want that कि the meat shops should be banned. Then there are some laws, and that is how it is done. You know that कि when they demand for meat shop ban, some people argued that कि why only meat shops should be banned? Why not fishing should also be banned? Right. Fishing should also be banned. Because fishing is also, let's say that killing, act of killing. But there is no such demand. Right. Because it is also non-violence. So then matter will become very endless. This we have to understand. Right? So that is how we have to understand, because human settlement life, settled life, an entire, let's say that what we do. That way we have to see. But that was not the purpose. The purpose, what I was trying to say is, in the name of religion, conflicts have increased. And conflicts have increased because simply we have become more self-centric. Right. We have become more self-centric. Self-centric means ki our religion, so it is my religion, so this is how you think that ki your religion is superior. And that religion, so that person thinks that ki that religion is superior. So somehow there is a sense of lack of respect to others' religion, others' rights. First. Second, there is a lack of knowledge in this. Hardly I told you one day that कि I will tell according to my personal अपना belief है, कोई research नहीं है इसके पीछे. So I consider that कि 99% people do not know religion. This is it. They follow religion but they do not know religion. Even I do not know. Yes, इसलिए कि उसके लिए टाइम चाहिए जानने के लिए. This इसलिए किसी ने religion पढ़ा नहीं. Right. आपने बस जान लिया कुछ पेरेंट्स से ऑब्जर्व करके, बस आप रिलीजियस हो गए. दिस इज हाउ सुनो. रिलीजन तो तब पता चलेगा जब आप अपना रिलीजन पढ़ो, बाकी का रिलीजन पढ़ो, तब पता करो. तो इतना टाइम होगा नहीं, एटलीस्ट 1-2 जनरेशन में भी नहीं होगा. यस. Those who know their religion, they understand others' religion and they respect others' religion. They are religious. Those who know their own religion, they do not know others' religion and they do not respect also others' religion. They are not religious. Because those who were the founders of religion, they never taught enmity. This is how you should know. Any founder of religion, they never taught enmity. This. So how followers can propagate enmity? Don't you think? How followers can propagate enmity if the founders did not propagate enmity? That is the question. This. Because their founders did not have ego, but followers have big ego. This. That is how we say it is not religion. Anyhow, forget about this. What we are trying to say is relationship between ethics and religion. So, religion and ethics, they are different, but they influence each other. In fact, traditional sense, if you say ancient time, you can say medieval times, you can say. So, religion has profound influence on ethics. Many a time, religious philosophy was nothing but philosophy of ethics, you can consider. But in modern times, we have established separate ethical standards on the basis of rationality. This. And principles of ethics are also principles of religion, especially those who are universal. At the same time, they have conflict. Conflicts result into friction. Friction may result into change. So there are, let's say that those religious philosophers, especially Vivekananda, he also introduces rationality in religion. So one day we'll teach when we'll take that aspect. That is how we can conclude. As far as morality is concerned, means constitutional morality, social morality. So I do not intend to teach here. We will teach you at elsewhere somewhere, since 2 times they have asked. So we'll try to conclude here. So let's write on this.
So,
Yes.
should not be questioned, like claiming to have powers, curing cancer, and all kind of things to fight COVID, and ultimately leading to death. Like people do stupid things in the name of faith. Even then it should not be questioned.
Right. See, faith, if you take as far as faith is concerned, in general, if you take, in general, and people do in the name of faith, like say they have some festivals, etc., that they celebrate, right? So it depends on that community, and they have also legal protection. That's why people cannot question this, because there is also legal protection to religion. Religion has its legal protection, then there is freedom of religion. Yes, if someone does something inhuman, so you can question, and that questioning should not be certainly act of beating. You can voice your concern. There is a legal process also. You can go and challenge in the court of law. That is how time to time people do. Superstition, it has been challenged in the court. Rights of women, it has been challenged in the court. This so there should be a right way to, let's say, voice that concern if we think that it is social evil or it is not a good practice. That is
Can
how
I just
what
add to what Uday just said? Like, if an upper caste girl marries a lower caste guy in a Khap Panchayat village of Haryana, then will that somehow be related to religion and ethics violation?
no, that will come in social norm, not in religion. Because Khap Panchayat does not represent any religious sect. It is, let's say that representation of social norm. While teaching social norm, there will take that matter. Right. So let's conclude that. So what we are saying, right, religion has profoundly influenced. Religion has profoundly influenced, right, ethics as its universal principles, universal oblique core principles are also considered principles of ethics. Principles of ethics. In fact, religion also aims at. In fact, religion also aims at. Religion also aims at a good conduct by leading a good path, by leading a good path through sacrifice and discipline, through sacrifice and discipline. Ethics also demands discipline and sacrifice by controlling on senses for improving conduct. In fact, both aim at it, both aim at achieving the highest good in human, achieving the highest good, achieving the highest good in human. That is known as wisdom, wisdom or enlightenment. wisdom or enlightenment. Hence, they profoundly influence each other. They profoundly influence each other. However, religious practices may not necessarily be. Religious practices may not necessarily conform to standards of ethics, standards of ethics, as they are based on human faith and belief. They are based on people's faith and belief. There is no inherent conflict. There is no inherent conflict between religion and ethics. Religion and ethics. The conflicts happen due to lack of understanding of ethics. Ethics, or first, religious superiority. Religious superiority. Next, ego superiority. Ego superiority. Next, rituals in religion. Rituals in religion based on superstitions. Based on superstitions. Superstitions. Conflicts also happen. Conflicts also happen due to presence of presence of multiple religions, and lack of recognition of differences in religion. Differences in religion. In recent times, conflicts have increased. In recent times, conflicts have increased due to religion. So, what to do? Such conflicts have given rise to also conflicts between law and religion. Like constitutional morality versus social morality. Changing paragraph. Conflicts may reduce if there is increasing emphasis on rationality, scientific temper, and greater recognition greater recognition of rights of people belonging to all religions. People belonging to all religions. All religions. So that is how we can say in brief, this is what it should be. So religion has gone to an extent that in our country, religion is above law. It is treated as if religion is above law. This, as long as it is treated religion is above law, we may not have rule of law. This, because religion is also source of threat to rule of law. And people very openly threaten rule of law in the name of religion. That's why I told you that when such processions and festivals happen, so we should have peace, not threat to peace. Yes. And those who create trouble, they are given so much of protection, and let's say that law does not act against them. Rather, law, somehow a law enforcement agency fears them. And because of that, it happens. And that is how the situation. So it should not happen. Let's say that rationality, and if you have, what do you say, scientific temper, so that should address. Because in the name of religion, people go and kill each other. This. Still it happens in our country. In the name of religion, people kill each other. This. Still we say we are peace-loving society. Achhi baat. So this, at least rioting should not happen. Physical fights acceptable. Civilized society. The civilized society means killing should not happen. Otherwise, how can you be civilized? How human can kill human? This, it cannot be considered civilized. So that is how, let's say that in Western society, rioting happens, but largely physical fights. This, it's not you go and that mohalla you kill people, right? This and other type of crimes. So when you say civilized society, the rationality, yes, physical fights are acceptable, right? At times, one to murder also acceptable. Sorry to say that, but mass murder is not acceptable. Even individual murder should also not happen. No. Now people can give this or that justification. In US, so murder happened through gunfight, isn't it? School and students. This you can say that. That is how it is a gun culture. People can justify कि वहाँ भी तो murder हो रहा है. But then you have to understand the difference. Let's say that it's not that is good, this is bad. It's not like that. But as long as human kills human, human is not civilized. Simple. Yes. That is what. That is how ethics can tell. That is how ethics can teach. All philosophers will teach peace, not war. This you should know. Now the question will come, there can be some odd philosophers. But philosophers means those who are known philosophers. Right? Generally, they will not teach, let's say, war. Even Kautilya does not talk about war. Right? Kautilya talks about war should be the last resort, not the first. This, that you should know that. Even war, there is a war ethics also. War में भी ethics follow करना है. Right? This. So that is how you should know this. So this is how ethics is so important. Human is so important. Right? This way you can say, let's take next ethics and law, social law. So let's write that. Social norms. Social norms are unwritten code of behavior. Unwritten social norms are unwritten code of behavior. Code of behavior which which are evolved which are evolved through tradition and custom, through tradition and custom and practices in society. Tradition, custom and practices in society. Okay. Such norms differ society to society. Such norms differ society to society. Society. Like in India, three different types of society. Three different types of society. North India, South India, Northeast. North India, South India, Northeast. And they have some different social norms. They have some different social norms. Social norms. The positive social norms, the positive social norms, which are common to Indian society, are first respect to elders, emphasis on sacrifice, next, tolerance, peace and harmony, tolerance, peace and harmony, family values and system, family values and system. However, they can have some differences. However, there can be differences in social norms. Social norms. Liberal versus conservative. Liberal versus conservative. Conservative. Some social norms can be. Some social norms can be. Negative or considered as social evil. Especially prejudices, discriminations, including gender discrimination. Including gender discrimination. Discriminations. All those social norms, which conform to all those social norms which conform to standards of ethics, they are also considered principles of ethics. Principles of ethics. In fact, social norms like morality become basis for social norms like morality become basis for become basis for right, let's see. Yes, become basis for deriving principles of ethics. Deriving principles of ethics. Principles of ethics. However, all those social norms, all those social norms which are discriminatory, they may they may conflict with ethics. They may conflict with ethics. No. So then now you can give, someone was talking example related to Khap Panchayat.
Deep sea. Deep sea.
Yes. So you have also asked about when the tests will happen.
Yes.
Yes. Anyhow, so the question is that it's not about, again, I will tell, when we teach, so we are free to give this or that example. That does not mean that there is anything intention or target to give a particular example. No. It's about the relevance of examination, obvious of example. Some examples are very obvious, common to all, and they are quite acceptable. So, yes, Khap Panchayat, if you say. So, once Khap Panchayat, there were boy and girl belonging to the same village and they married. Then Khap Panchayat passed a decree that they should live as brother and sister. Yes. Why? Because Khap Panchayat considers people, let's say that means boys and girls belonging to the same village as brother and sister. Yes. So that is how it was once done. I guess they challenge it. They may have challenged. In fact, Supreme Court has, let's say, at times declared its decree unlawful. It has also told that it does not have authority to issue such kind of decree. This, there are local courts, and let's say those local courts are based on tradition, etc. recognition. They are recognized by the court, the Supreme Court also. But Khap Panchayat still as an entity is not recognized to either hold a court or let's say pass a decree which is binding. Although it can pass any such order which can be desirable. This, in fact, Khap Panchayat has also done lots of good things for the society. That also. But at the same time, they say it happens that it passes a decree that they should live brother and sister. Right. So what do you think? Should they follow? It depends on them. If they don't have any objection, so there is no problem. But if they have objections, they will go to court. Right. And court will not see village as the entity like family. Right. Court will see village as village. And two individuals as two individuals. This. So that way, and then the two individuals have right. This way considered. Similarly, there can be several such examples where you find that social norms conflict with law. This, then in that situation, let's say conflict with basically ethics. In that situation, what should be done? So certainly, let's say, see, as long as we have social norms and practices, and people do not have problem with that. So there is no problem. As long as social norms do not harm others, there is no problem with that. But if someone has problem, there is a process you can go and challenge in the court. Yes. The legal process. You can file also a case if it is amounting to be a case. You can file a case also. So there can be a legal process because there are so many social evil practices still we have. Different times. Largely some popular, you can say, infamous type related to women. Women are not allowed to enter in dargah, so women are not allowed to enter in mosque. Let's say women are not allowed to enter in Sabrimala. That kind of thing you can say, or women rights you can find. Similarly, related to many practices that we have in marriage cases, you'll find that. In marriage also lots of, let's say, rituals that we follow, cultural things we follow. And still it is a social norm in our society, isn't it? That it is the girl side which should always bring some wealth whenever she visits to, let's say, groom side, isn't it? Entire life also. No, कुछ लाया नहीं वहां से. So the question is, right, boy side is not supposed to bring anything. Right? The girl side is always supposed to bring, something, or even girl parents are also visiting, isn't it? It is supposed to, they should also bring something, right? But boy side, it is not a acceptable norm. If they bring, it is good. Right. But if they do not bring, so it is not a matter that you can ask. This, that is how social norm, which is not a right norm, which is followed in our society. This. So this is what you can say. Yes.
So can you give another example of festivals in which we dirty the rivers? Maybe.
What we do?
So if the rivers get dirty with that topi and that things that we,
No, but that is religion. That is religion. Try to understand. What you are saying is religion, not social norm. We are talking about social norm. The religion we have finished. Already it was a bit sensitive, right? Although I don't have problem with sensitivity, but yes, it is sensitive. We do not try to talk on that matters.
By opposing the court, I am not giving any kind of authority to the applicant because it is already not an institution with an authority. So by opposing the court and nullifying that order, so are we not granting this kind of recognition that it can follow?
Then after all, how you will deal against this decree?
By simply not following that. And if they take any action, that means they are the culprit, not us. Because it's not a decree that we are also following.
But you know that if you will not follow, you will be expelled from village. There will be expulsion. That ostracization. It results into ostracization, boycott, expulsion from village.
That will call a legal action, not the order.
No, even but then when you question order, it questions the legitimacy. It does not give legitimacy. It questions their legitimacy. You can pass an order. There is no problem. But you cannot make it binding. Yes. Morally desirable thing can be. No? You can appeal to the people. You can appeal to the people being a social institution. But you cannot make that appeal binding.
Secondly, there is one temple in South India where only women are allowed. So if even the men go to the Supreme Court and ask for a PIA, then
Yes, so right. I don't think, see, try to say there is a simple answer to this all questions, right? No any, let's say that ki bigger, let's say, personality, it's in Ram, Krishna, जो भी आप personality मानते हैं, they have not imposed any restrictions. So ये intermediate level का restriction क्यों है? This you should know that. Why you have created this? Same thing I will tell ki mask and women. Like even Prophet Muhammad also used to perform namaz with women, let's say that. Right. or if you go in Western countries, the women are also in mask. This, so why we have made this issue? This you should know that. Same thing with dargah. This, and who are you to have a restriction? Who are you to have this restriction? This,
Sir, if the untouchable is not allowed to have photos of a well in a village, will that come under this?
so that is how we say, na? See, you have always a connection with God. Na? So let you and God understand who the person you are. This, you are a trustee, you run the trust. You run the trust. You don't run God. Right. This you have to understand. You are running God also, no? God and me relationship. You run the trust, right? But don't run relation between God and person.
So,
This is yes. That is how Supreme Court will. Sir, yes, it is in polity, not here, right? So that is how, let's say that Supreme Court has told we have been forced to wear a theological mantle. Right. They are not supposed to deal with such cases. It is the government which is supposed to deal. But since the government is not dealing, no, they are forced to deal with. Otherwise, they should not. Yes. And governments will try to make it all controversial. You know that. Politics. This. But there is a simple answer. Again, I will tell you. There is a simple answer. See, जितने controversies है, आप बोल सकते हो कि यहाँ पे इनका बैन है, वहाँ पे उनका बैन है. ये सब, I don't think that it is valid thing. It's the relationship between God and, let's say, human. And let that relationship be. This. Because people are God-fearing. People are God-fearing and people know how to respect God. This. So why there should be so much regulation? Regulation is done for proper management. Any regulation is done for proper management. This you can say. If there is any religion that has mentioned that in this place, a particular religion, people are not allowed, they need to rethink on that. This, because a religion cannot be so narrow and so threatened by a non-believer person in that religion. This you should also understand. So, a religion should not fear this. This, you need to understand this is how there are so many things. That is what we can say on this. Anyhow, what we say is this social evil practices, and which this is how it will happen, social evil practice and ethics, so there can be conflict. And conflict, as you know, that happens social norm, social and constitutional morality. So it is a case where there was conflict between social morality, means social norms, and you can say that this called constitutional morality, means universal aspect, which I mentioned you day before yesterday itself, what those conflicts were. Women generally and related to pavitra, apavitra concept. It is also based on either religious norm or social norm. This, and when it is based on religious norm and social norm, so again the question is that let them decide. And as long as it is a practice, let's say, and it is not being questioned, it is not harming, there is no problem. People do practice it. Right. In fact, no one tries to go to temple, mosque, church if the person does not himself feel कि he is pavitra, he is shuddha, he is, let's say that ki pak saf, you can say, or whatever in religion you can consider. People try to, let's say, themselves become mentally also, let's say that they should be in conformity, let's say, with God, let's say that. If they are going, they do have themselves concern. So we cannot have a gate where you can check people. Right? Whether you are pavitra or not, you should not enter. Let the person decide. Yes. And rights, let's say, when rights are, people's rights are questioned, And when there is a conflict, so most of the time rights will be given preference over norms. This you should know. Because rights are something higher, as we have told, moral standards and ethical standards. The rights are something higher than norms, you can say that. Although we protect norms also. As we tell that Schedule 5, Schedule 6 and norms are protected. Traditions are protected. Traditions are also protected, but even when tradition and let's say universal aspect come into conflict, largely you go by the universal aspect. That can happen, and this is how we can say talk about this aspect.
So may I? Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, as you said that social norms are a unwritten code of behavior. So is it ethical to break social norms? Like if you feel if you feel morally it is wrong. Like there are certain taboos and stereotypes in society. When it comes to individual versus society. So,
See, social norm depends if which type of social norm, isn't it? And suppose let's say that even if you take Sabrimala, it is a norm that women should not be allowed. If you enter it, you are breaking it. Social norm can be in family itself, isn't it? The family social norm is that intercaste marriage is not allowed. This, you want to break it. It depends on which types of social norm you are talking. This, whether social norms of others you are trying to break or social norms of yours you are trying to break, whether it is in the family itself or in the society or in other society, isn't it? It depends on that. So depends on the context, let's say, which context you are talking. Right.
sir, I was talking in the context of living relationships.
Yes, okay. Break it,
Because
what's the
in
problem?
general society, like every society thinks that it is not the right thing to do.
The society, it is not a big problem, isn't it? It is not a big problem. If you both two individuals agree, so you have to face the society. Yes. So it cannot be considered as a big problem. Or it is not a problem. People are having, they live, they have, let's say, forget about this, let's say what people will think. Even intercaste marriage. If you do intercaste marriage, throughout life you will suffer. Right. Direct or indirect remarks will be given. If not you, so your wife. If she is from lower caste, the people will not be speak before you, but people will speak before her. Yes. Recently, I was reading, let's say, print article is there related to posting and transfers of civil servants. In that, one civil servant has shared this. Since they had intercaste marriage, so because of that, throughout, let's say, their career, they have been harassed. This. So, forget about intercaste. Inter-regional marriage. That also. Cultural differences, south versus north, isn't it? So these are not, let's say, that very challenging things. Challenging in the sense, it can be, let's say, that challenge, but it is not about breaking a norm. Rather, let's say that you want to live life of your choice. This way we can say, isn't it?
So when it comes to very simple things like people find like you wear certain types of clothes and people find it obscene. So like society looks at that this is obscene and then people come to you and they moral police you. So what about those norms? Like people want you to dress in a certain way.
See, if you think that whatever you are doing is right, nothing to worry. This is how. First, second, people will come to, let's say, let's say, uh, talk about moral and other aspects. But you should have your own moral standards. This, and you follow it. This I can say. So, let's take further, isn't it? See, there is always challenge if you do something new. It has nothing to do with only moral standard, social norms. Anything that you do new, people will always have either doubt on you, people will drag you, leg pull you, or people will talk blah blah things. Right? If you are a right, once you think you are right, you are doing right, nothing to worry about all these things. You do your work, you do your job, you do your whatever you think right. Critics will always be there. Challenges will always be there. This, like even if you have taken for preparation, some people may laugh at you, isn't it? Laugh at you, what? Civil service का preparation कर रहा है. Like this. So they think that you do not have that kind of thing to do, prepare for civil service. That way they can. So this way, if women does job, the all neighbors, etc., those who are not doing job, they become critic. Not that she should not do job, rather they do not do job, other women, and they don't get respect like her. Sorry to say that. Inside heart matter is this. Because you are doing a job, so you have your stature is different now. So all other those who are not doing job, they think they are right. Not they are going to get the same respect. This you can say. So there can be several things, several ways you can see this. And if you break social norms, so you should have also courage to face it. That is what we can say. Right. So this is what we can say about ethics and social norms. Like then the last one is left is a bit we'll talk. We'll talk tomorrow. So I guess you understand the difference between morality and ethics. Yeah. So if we are able to understand the difference between values, morality, and ethics, then it will enhance your understanding. It will broaden your understanding. So All individuals have their values. All we have values. Let's say you have values: positive, negative, higher, lower, core, peripheral, stable, unstable, all different types. Generally, our core values do not change. They are very strong. The people can have strong, some of the values which are very strong. It is related to respect, dignity. This you can consider. Your respect, dignity, that aspect. Peripheral values can be, let's say, which keep changing. It can be fooding behavior, fooding preferences. For some time you can have one type of fooding preference. For some other time you can have another type of fooding practice. Lifestyle, living standard, that also keep changing. So that is how we can find that we can have different standards which guide our behavior. This, like if you have liberal values, so they will guide your behavior. If you have conservative values, they will guide your behavior. This we can say. So there is no any defined standard for individual. It is individual preference. The how you have that preference, it depends on you, the way you have grown up. This. Plus, further that values can be defined like human values, which we'll take separately when we'll talk. In syllabus mentioned societal values, universal values. Then in applied context, we say civil services values. No. This. So, in this case, when we talk about values, so they will be nothing but in this equal to what we say ethical standards. So some values will be equal to moral standards and ethical standards, but not all values will be equal to moral and ethical standards. The nutshell of this, what we want to tell you, is that all values do not have moral elements. Some values have moral elements. Means all values have nothing to do with rightness and wrongness. This, as we told yesterday, morality has an inherent quality of rightness and wrongness. And we also told that your all conducts are not subject to ethical scrutiny in terms of rightness and wrongness. Many a time you like something, you do that. You prefer something, you do that. As we told that you like your optional, so you have taken that optional. There is no moral element in this. So many things, let's say that plays, things, etc., activities, which are on the basis, you like phone, let's say, like phone, and in that phone also you like a particular phone. So it can be your value that you want to maintain a status. So maintaining a particular status can be your value. But it has nothing to do with moral aspect. This way. So some people want to be very formal because they want to have a formal, always a formal look, you can say. But some people are very casual. Yes. So being formal or being casual, they have nothing to do with moral aspect. This is what we have to understand. And that is how the values will become different from moral aspects. Morality and ethics, this way we can distinguish. Let's take tomorrow, we'll finish here. Right?